and avoiding crowded spaces. One thing that digital marketing does for business owners at this time is that business owners are still able to get out their business without having to physically meet with their consumers or the end users.
While revenues and business forecasts are set to suffer short-term pressure and decline, one of the ways to cushion the effect of the pandemic and manage the impact on businesses is through technology adoption and remote communications, which is mainly by e-commerce adoption.
I think it has come to stay. I mean, a lot of people realize that, oh, what we are actually doing offline can actually be done online. What I'm actually renting an office space for can be done in the comfort of my bedroom. So I actually don't need that office space.
Another thing digital marketing does for you is that you can do all of these things on a low budget scale. With little amount of money, you can simply run an ad that's going to convert.
According to experts, digital marketing benefits businesses of all sizes by giving access to the mass market at an affordable price, but there are challenges of digital marketing which people need to be aware of.
Sometimes some of the goods you want to buy is not what they bring for you. That's why people are going for pay on delivery now. That I want to see the goods that I'm paying for.
About our infrastructure, we do not have very strong internet access in Nigeria. Even when you do, it's quite expensive. So our government needs to do a lot of things in that direction. The other thing is fraud. A lot of fraud is taking place on the internet now. So we all need to be careful so that even as we are transacting our business in the comfort of our homes, we are not being swindled by internet fraudsters.
They added that with this strategy adoption and adequate use, digital marketing platform will provide compliance to the widely publicized precautionary measures, especially social distancing and no-touch greetings. Besides, customers' convenience will be enhanced, while the shopping cost will similarly be reduced. Idowu Fabaju, Ogtv News.
Stakeholders in the environment and allied sector have thrown their weight behind the proposed Ogun State Waste Management Authority Law 2020, describing it as a laudable legislative framework that would give a new direction to waste management in achieving safe and clean environment suitable for investment in the state. The stakeholders spoke in unison during a public hearing on the bill titled A Bill for a Law to Provide for the Establishment of the Ogun State Waste Management Authority and other matters connected therewith, held at the Assembly Complex, Okemoson, Abeokuta. Contributors at the forum included the representatives of the Association of Waste Managers, State Chapter, the State Environmental Protection Agency, OGEPA, the Commissioner of Police, as represented by DCP Alamutu Abiodun, and the Special Advisor to the Governor on Environment, Ola Oresanya, among others, stated that the bill was another milestone by the 9th Assembly towards safeguarding the environment through a well-coordinated waste management system. According to them, the new system, which must bring all hands on deck, would ensure the sustainability of a cleaner and livable environment for the people and investors in the state, thereby making the state retain a pride of place among the committee of states in the country. Earlier, while declaring the forum open, the Speaker, Right Honorable Olakunle Oluomo, said the basis for convening the public hearing was to ensure collaborative efforts of the Assembly in partnering with the executive arm towards charting a new course for waste management in the state through a visible legislative instrument that could stand the test of time.
The bill is aimed at providing a enabling environment for improvement of socio-economic activities in the state. Let me therefore assure all the stakeholders present here now that this bill will be given accelerated passage to enable the present system of waste management in the state to take a new shape.
Address, the Chairman, House Committee on Environment, Wahab Aruno, pointed out the importance of a conducive environment in ensuring good health and well-being of the people. He stated that the forum was organized to provide an avenue for stakeholders' participation in the deliberation where input garnered will be carefully considered for further legislative process in achieving an effective law. The Bill on Animal Grazing and Cattle Ranch Establishment Law of Ogun State 2020 has scaled second reading at plenary, presided over by the Speaker, Right Honorable Olakunle Oluomo, with an assurance that when operational, it would checkmate incessant attacks and killings of innocent citizens. House of Assembly correspondent Kola Woliosho covered the plenary, and his report is presented in this package.
While opening debate on the second reading of the bill, the Animal Grazing and Cattle Ranch Establishment Law of Ogun State 2020, shortly after a motion moved by the minority leader and sponsor, Honorable Ganiu Oyedeji, seconded by Honorable Yusuf Adejojo, and supported by the whole House through a voice vote at the plenary presided by Speaker Olakunle Oluomo. The sponsor explained that the essence of the bill was to curb clashes between farmers and others, thereby reducing destruction of farmlands by nomads. He notes that the bill was proposed to ensure peaceful atmosphere for existing and prospective farmers to set up ranches for their cattle, adding that its implementation will further boost agricultural practices, particularly animal husbandry in the state. In their separate submissions, Honorables Adejojo, Adeyanju Adegoke, Shola Adams, and Amosun Yusuf remarked that the bill, when passed and eventually signed into law by the state governor, will curb environmental pollution, reduce farmers-herdsmen clashes, increase food production with a call for consideration of seamless access to landed properties for grazing. Other members who contributed to the passage of the bill posited that the bill will make the state's key into ranching system, which was in line with best practices as the state could no longer allow for arms bearing and its illegal possession. Responding, Speaker Right Honorable Olakunle Oluomo says the new bill will allow for a system of identification for herdsmen.
Anybody that is a Fulani that is living in the state needs to be identified. Like somebody said, you need data. Having heard all that, I hereby charge the bill to the House Committee on Agriculture and Forestry for further legislative action. I so order.
As part of its quasi-judicial function, the Ogun State House of Assembly has called for the immediate stoppage of the planned demolition of structures around Adiyon, a borderline community between the state and Lagos State, in the structural preparation of operation sites for Lagos Water Corporation, Akute Adiyo 2 Waterworks, pending the resolution on right of way between the two states. The Speaker, Right Honorable Olakunle Oluomo, issued the directive while responding to the submission of the minority leader, who is a member representing Ivo 2 State constituency, Honorable Ganiu Oyedeji, under personal explanation. Oluomo urges concerned agencies of government in the two states to suspend the demolition exercise as the Assembly was already engaging our counterparts in the neighboring state on how best to implement the project without subjecting property owners in the affected areas to untold hardship.
We have to look into that matter holistically. And I've spoken with the appropriate authority. The House Committee on Water Resources. We shall be meeting with our counterparts in the Lagos State House of Assembly. I have already discussed with the Speaker of Lagos this morning so that we can see how we can work together to resolve the matter. And as a result of that, I want to call on whichever department of government that is involved in the matter to stop the action henceforth, pending resolution of the matter.
In other developments, Speaker Oluomo has lauded the mobilization of contractors of construction sites across the state, as well as the prompt response to the victims of flash flood that occurred last weekend in Abeokuta metropolis, with a charge to residents to desist from indiscriminate dumping of refuse on waterways to prevent flooding.
Lawmakers in the Ondo State House of Assembly have served impeachment notice on the state-embattled Deputy Governor Agbola Ajayi. This took place at the plenary session presided over by the Speaker of the Assembly. The Deputy Governor has been at the center of the storm following his resignation from the All Progressives Congress and defection to the People's Democratic Party. Although journalists were barred from covering the proceedings, the Chairman House Committee on Information, Mr. Gbenga Omoli, after the session said there were 14 members that attended the session, while the House needed only 9 members to give out the notice. Omoli added that only few journalists were allowed into the Assembly chamber in order to follow COVID-19 guidelines. And still to come in the news, Senate receives President Buhari's request to confirm 11 judges for FCT High Court orders. More news and report shortly. Thanks so much for joining us in part 2 of the news. The Senate has received a formal request for the confirmation of 11 nominees as judges of the Federal High Court of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT. The request was contained in a letter read on the floor during plenary by the Senate President Ahmad Lawan. The letter read, in accordance to Section 256, Subsection 2 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended, I have the honor to forward for confirmation by the Senate the underlisted names of 11 nominees as judges of the High Court of the FCT, Abuja. The nominees are Abubakar Useni Musa, Adamawa State; Edward Okwi, Benue State; Babashani Abubakar, Borno State; Emusere Francis, Delta State; George Ogu, Delta State; Josephine Enobi, Edo State; Christopher Okpeyemi Oba, Ekiti State; Muhammad Idris, Kano State; Azan Miriam Aliyu, Kebbi State; Fashola Akim Adibowale, Lagos State; and Amsa Moazu, Niger State. The minority whip, Senator Philip Aduda, while relying on other 43 of the Senate standing rules, objected to the absence of a nominee from the FCT. Chairman of the Senate Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters, Senator Okpeyemi Bamidele, APC, Ekiti Central, while coming under the same point of order, explained to the contrary that the FCT already has judges on the bench of the FCT High Court. The Senate has passed the bill against sexual harassment in tertiary institutions. It is titled, A Bill for an Act to Prevent, Prohibit and Redress Sexual Harassment of Students in Tertiary Educational Institutions and for Matters Connected therewith, 2019. The proposed legislation was sponsored by the Deputy President of the Senate, Ove Omoagege. The bill was passed after it was read for third reading on Tuesday. The Red Chamber passed the bill after considering the report of the Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters. The House of Representatives has criticized the Minister of Labor, Employment and Productivity, Senator Chris Ngige, over how he is handling the affairs of the Nigeria Social Insurance Trust Fund. The House particularly declared the suspension of the NSITF management by the minister illegal, accusing him of committing various illegalities through his office. In a motion moved by Mr. Leke Abejide, which the lawmakers unanimously adopted, the House called for the lifting of the suspension. The Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment had dismissed claims by the Nigeria Employers Consultative Association that the suspension of the management of the NSITF violated the procedure approved by the President. The ministry had insisted that the removal of the NSITF management followed due process. The House of Representatives has resolved to investigate the alleged illegal withdrawal of funds from the Nigerian Liquefied Natural Gas Limited, amounting to $6.05 billion by the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC. The resolution followed the adoption of a motion moved by the Minority Leader, Dudi Ilumelu, at the plenary on Tuesday entitled Need to Investigate the Illegal Withdrawals from the NLNG Dividends Account by the management of NNPC. Consequently, the House mandated its Committee on Public Accounts to invite the management of the NNPC as well as that of the NLNG to conduct a thorough investigation on activities that have taken place on the dividends account and report back to the House in 4 weeks. Moving the motion, Ilumelu recalled that the NLG was incorporated as a limited liability company in 1989 with the aim of producing liquefied natural gas and natural gas liquids for export purposes, while its production began in 1999. Ilumelu said the House is aware that the dividends from the NLG are supposed to be paid into the Consolidated Revenue Funds account of the federal government and to be shared among the 3 tiers of government. Body image concerns are rising particularly among young women and adolescents. In this special report, Moyoluwa Ajayi takes a look at the shameful roles of internet in propagating body shamefulling and cyberbullying. Our report is presented from our studio.
Within the last 25 years, the internet has become a cornerstone of the society's culture and identity. With easy information and communication access, the internet became an integral part of the society's social interaction, which provides a useful outlet of communication through social media. In recent years, as a result of the internet's faceless communication and society's unrealistic physical beauty standards, the internet allows users to cause emotional damage to a person through cyberbullying. Cyberbullies generally use these outlets to expose others' imperfections that do not match society's beauty expectation.
When you throw shade at people, that is basically what cyberbullying means. And body shaming, it means when you insult someone or when you critique or mock someone's body because of the way they look, because they don't fall into the stereotypical societal look, because their body shape or body size or even their complexion is different from what you like.
So it is actually the act of posting some things about a victim, about someone which is not supposed to be. It might actually be a rumor, it might be threat, and sometimes it might be a private information.
Body shaming can be considered a gender issue on the media, as the social media frequently highlights and publicize more instances of women over men as victims of cyberbullies. Body shaming is demeaning and oftentimes comes with long-term consequences on the victim's mental health, physical health, and perception of her own body.
It can lead to mental health disorders such as depression, anxiety, eating disorders, binge eating. It can also lead to suicidal problems. It can also lead to substance abuse problems. And you have the obsession of wanting to change your body type.
Cyberbullies are very, very instrumental in causing online body shaming, and they have no idea how they are destroying humanity as a result. Behavioral psychologists even say that they totally fall apart emotionally and psychologically, and they become suicidal as a result of the online body shaming.
After looking at media and advertisement on internet and social media images depicting ideal thin bodies, women experience an increase in anxiety, depression, and dissatisfaction with their own unique body. Respondents, however, highlight ways to suppress body shaming and cyber.
That shouldn't make you think of yourself less, okay? That shouldn't make you feel bad or make you feel like you're not enough. Don't let people define you. That is not the way to go. Love yourself, because before anything, you come first.
For a nation to develop, we need people who are highly motivated and highly energetic, and people who feel comfortable and confident in themselves to succeed. If we must achieve that as a nation, then we must reduce the rate of body shaming, because people who are body shamed do not feel comfortable and confident in themselves to succeed. So for us to make progress as a nation, we need to be able to make sure that people's mental health is actually well protected.
It is important to promote positive body image in adolescents and young adults, as there are ruthless cyberbullies who spread toxic comments that exploit a victim's privacy, cause severe humiliation, and ultimately traumatic psychological responses like eating disorder, poorer self-image, and suicide.
The recent approved financial bill that seeks to increase government's revenue was aimed at cushioning the effect on struggling small business sector in Nigeria, the Africa's largest economy. The bill, which raises the country's value-added tax from 5% to 7.5%, was believed becomes necessary for the country with the lowest tax in grain and domestic product ratio, going by world ranking. In this report, Peter Falomo takes a look at the implementation of the Financial Act and its effect on the downtrodden. His reports.
The introduction of 7.5% value-added tax at its inauguration, after all administrative procedures, was said to have been completed and signed into law in order to boost revenue, which will be used to finance key government projects in the country.
As it is before, that the increase will not affect basic items. But now that they are talking about bringing in raw materials, that is an area of concern for people.
The financial bill, which also includes provision that will ease burdens of insurance policy, banking and oil industries, is equally expected to bring about a significant increase in investment activities in the capital markets, while considering the health, education and infrastructure areas of the nation's economy. Respondents say the sectors are no doubt critical and enjoin the government to ensure they give all units the deserved attention.
We can only hope and pray and work at it seriously that the proceeds of the 7.5% VAT that is currently at play will be effectively, mark the words, effectively utilized on all sectors of the economy that requires attention. Virtually all sectors of the economy requires attention, but it will be evenly and equitably spread across board to making sure that it benefits the taxpayers.
Apart from borrowing, there are many ways government can generate funds. One, government must reduce cost of governance, block leakages. There's a lot of leakage in government, especially in running the government. Look at the oil sector. There are a lot of leakages in the oil sectors. Make sure you get the best. Make sure you get the maximum money that is supposed to come in. So all those leakages must be blocked.
At the takeoff of the policy of the value-added tax, the people asked the government to consider the downtrodden, particularly those in the cottage industries, adding that inclusion of private-public partnership could be of great advantage.
Bring in investors. When you bring them in, let them finance the basic items that we are talking about, the various projects we are talking about. You can tow it. You can concession it. There are so many various options that you can do in order to finance these projects we are talking about.
And if they can get money from other sources, the federal government, the state governments, they have been borrowing here and there. If they borrow to fix these sectors, to me, there's nothing wrong in it. But when you now squeeze the people to get money, especially this hard time, this is not the best time to take money from the people.
According to the government, full implementation of the 7.5% value-added tax takes effect from year 2020. Peter Falomo, Ogtv News.
The kidnapped chairman of Nigeria Labour Congress Delta State, Comrade Goodluck Ofobruko, has regained his freedom after paying an undisclosed amount of money. The Labour leader, who was abducted around 8 in the evening on Saturday while driving out of his house behind Immigration Office along Ipusa, Asaba Road, Asaba, the Delta State capital, was set free on Monday by his abductors. Confirming his release, the secretary to the NLC in the state, Comrade Innocent Ofoyade, noted that Ofobruko was released on Monday night. Also, the Commissioner of Police in the state, Mr. Afis Inua, confirmed the NLC chairman's release, adding that he was not aware of any payment of ransom. The police boss stressed that the command was intensifying efforts to arrest the suspects. The presiding judge of a federal high court in Benin City, Edo State, Justice Umar Garuba, has adjourned to July 14 the alleged 700 million naira fraud case leveled against the governorship candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Osage Eze Iyamu. The APC governorship candidate was absent in the court due to ill health. Eze Iyamu and 4 others who are standing trial over an alleged 700 million naira fraud case preferred against them by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission were supposed to appear before the court on Tuesday. Counsel for the first defendant, Charles Edosoma San, told the judge that his client, Osage Eze Iyamu, could not make it to the court as he was currently indisposed. He prayed the judge to allow him to present the certificate of his ill health as certified by his medical doctor to the court. The judge, having listened to the counsel for the first defendant, adjourned the case to July 14, 2020 for hearing. Today marks the 22nd anniversary of the death of legendary philanthropist, publisher and business mogul Bashorun Moshood Kashimawo Olawale Abiola, the 14th Are Ona Kakanfo of Yorubaland. Ogtv News reflects on the day, which has now become a milestone. Shemi Lori Makonjo reports.
Nigeria's history, when passed down to posterity, will not be complete without a story of a man who was born into a poor background but strove to succeed in business and politics. Moshood Kashimawo Olawale Abiola was born in Abeokuta, Ogun State on August 24, 1937. MKO, as he was fondly called, threw his heart into the ring in 1993 when he contested for the presidency during the regime of General Ibrahim Babangida retired, which he won by a landslide result in an election widely reported as free and fair, but he was denied his mandate.
The country went to polls on Saturday, June 12, 1993, and without let or hindrance chose me as their president. Didn't they? They did.
It is true that the presidential election was generally seen to be free, fair, and peaceful. However, there was in fact a huge array of electoral practices virtually in all the states of the Federation.
Former head of state General Sani Abacha immediately clamped him into jail, charging him with treason after he continually pushed for his mandate and later declared himself the winner and president of the nation at Ekpetedo, Lagos State.
I believe that was the end of freedom for Nigeria. I cannot see how Nigeria can regain anything because Abiola Hope 93 has a good plan for Nigeria. He has what it takes. He was the father of sports, he was a sportsman, and of course in South Africa he played as well among the things he did. But apart from things, come home, Abiola was really a really charitable man.
Though what he did then still lives on. What is important for me? The ideals that MKO fought for, what he was clamoring for, how many of these things have we been able to achieve today? Some people rode on the back of MKO's name to get to office. Today, can MKO Abiola look back and say that he is proud of these people?
He eventually died under controversial circumstances while in detention on July 7, 1998, just a few days after his planned release from prison by a new regime.
The events that transpired later revealed to Nigeria the eloquence in his heart, the fidelity of his commitment, and even his own deep abiding wish that if there were any way that his own actions would in any way compromise the people of Nigeria, MKO would prefer to die. He preferred to leave the earth rather than compromise on you, on your integrity as a people, on your sovereignty as a nation.
It was it's a true son. I know him from childhood. We started school together at Ogtv School, but I know Abiola as a politician of repute. He lived his life for the people.
MKO's struggle eventually paid off when he was posthumously conferred with the highest honor of Grand Commander of the Federal Republic, GCFR, by President Muhammadu Buhari. Beyond politics, MKO Abiola was a philanthropist. He was made pillar of sports in Africa because of his legendary support to sports, held many traditional titles, and he was a business mogul of international repute. Shemilore Makoju, Ogtv News.
Fears rise over Naira devaluation by Central Bank of Nigeria. These and more business news after this break. The newly appointed Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, Mr. Lamido Yeguda, has stated that the capital market has a lot of potential for growth and development of Nigeria post-COVID-19 and beyond. Yeguda resumed alongside the executive commissioners, namely Mr. Reginald Karawusa, Mr. Ibrahim Boye, and Mr. Dayo Obison in Abuja on Monday. According to a statement from the commission, the SEC DG said the capital market is a crucial component of any economy, as the SEC over the last 2 decades has worked with other relevant stakeholders to introduce and implement various initiatives targeted at improving the regulation and development of the market. According to him, the Capital Market Master Plan, launched in 2014, has the objective of positioning the capital market for an accelerated development of the national economy. The Minister of Aviation, Adi Sirika, has said following the loss made due to the closure of the airport for about 3 months, businesses in the aviation sector will be given opportunity to access a 2-fold palliative from the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, and the Ministry of Finance and National Planning. The minister, who spoke in Abuja, explained that the ministry was working on a 2-pronged palliative. This, however, revealed is still being worked out and would be made known soon. Speaking further on the preparedness for flight resumption, the minister emphasized that aides to VIPs would not be allowed into the terminal building. Despite publishing the 2018 audited report of its subsidiaries, the Nigerian Natural Resources Chapter NNPC on Monday said the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation was still lacking in transparency and accountability. This was even as it called for a holistic improvement across the national oil company. The institute, in a statement issued by its program coordinator, Ms. Tegi George Coley in Abuja, said the corporation had consistently been underperforming against established global benchmark. As uncertainties over further devaluation of the Naira by the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, continues, foreign exchange traders are trading cautiously with their funds avoiding speculative transactions. Traders have refused to offer quotes on official foreign exchange market after the Apex Bank allowed Naira to weaken by 5% at last auction. No quotes for the Naira were available on Nigeria's official market after the central bank allowed the currency to weaken 5% at a retail auction in a move to unify the currency's multiple exchange rates, dealers said. Currency traders refused to quote prices for the Naira amid confusion about the impact of the Apex Bank's adjustment. The CBN, as the biggest forex supplier at the weekend, asked commercial banks to bid at 380 Naira per dollar, 5% above its official rate of 360. The Naira was exchanging at 461 Naira to dollar at the parallel market, which is 101 above the official rate. On the foreign segment of the news, Melbourne to lockdown for weeks as COVID-19 cases rise. Don't go away. Five million residents of the Australian city of Melbourne have been told to stay at home for 6 weeks amid a surge in coronavirus cases. Also, Russian space official has been arrested for treason in Europe. Details on the World Today. 5 million residents of the Australian city of Melbourne have been told to stay at home for 6 weeks amid a surge in coronavirus cases. Victoria State Premier Daniel Andrews announced the lockdown after the state saw 191 new infections, its highest daily number since the pandemic began.
Stopped, you'll be asked, and if you don't have a lawful excuse, then there are significant penalties that will apply. Victoria Police have always taken this seriously, and they will continue to.
The state's border with its neighbours, New South Wales and South Australia, will close within hours. Australia has recorded almost 9,000 cases and 106 deaths from the virus, but almost all new cases have been in Victoria. The state had been easing restrictions before the surge in the past fortnight. It now has hundreds of active cases, while other Australian cities and territories continue to report only a small number of new infections. People will be kept to their homes and will only be able to leave for essential reasons such as for work, exercise and shopping for food and other necessities. Schools will largely return to distance learning and restaurants will once again only be permitted to serve takeaway food. However, shops and hairdressers will remain open. The measure will come into force from Wednesday. The lockdown covers only Melbourne and an area to the north called Mitchellshire, but the state as a whole is being sealed off from the neighbouring states of New South Wales and South Australia. A spokeswoman for the head of the Russian Space Agency has been arrested for treason, the agency says. Roscosmos said in a statement that the former journalist's arrest was not linked to his current job there. Russia's FSB security service said he was suspected of espionage for a NATO country, RIA news agency said. Savronov used to be a military reporter at the business dailies Komsant and Vedomosti. However, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov told reporters, as far as we know, this is not linked to his proud journalistic activity in any way. That was the foreign segment of the news. Up next is latest sport news with Akim Akitunde. Stay tuned. The agency said it was helping invest.
Welcome to the sports segment of this news. Starting from the fast lane, Fernando Alonso is to return to Formula One with Renault next year. The Spanish two-time world champion, who will be 39 later this month, has signed and will be confirmed soon, sources said. Alonso will return to the outfit with whom he won his world championships and for whom he has already driven twice during his career. He left Formula One in 2018 and is due to make a third attempt to win the Indianapolis 500 with McLaren in August. Concerns are growing from friends and the public for the well-being of Kenyan marathon ace Wilson Kipsang. The former marathon world record holder appeared to be drunk during a TV interview about his recent 4-year ban from athletics. Kipsang, who is a policeman, is here to respond to requests for a comment about his TV appearance. Kipsang's ban was imposed on July 3rd this year for missing 4 out of competition drug tests. And to the world of football now, Barcelona have been cleared by the Court of Arbitration for Sports, CAS, of committing fraud when they signed Neymar from Santos. Neymar left the Brazilian side to join Barca in 2013, but the deal has been marred with controversy ever since. The Catalan side claimed they signed the Brazilian star from Santos for 17 million euros, though it was later revealed that the total fee paid came to around 83 million euros, with Barca making payments to the player's private company and directly to his father. This CAS verdict compels Santos to pay Barcelona's legal cost, a figure of 2,000 Swiss francs. And this last one, the Brazilian Football Confederation has set August 9 as the date for the resumption of the national championship, drawing opposition from regional authorities in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic. It said on Monday the 20-team second division would resume the day before. Only one state championship in Rio de Janeiro has so far resumed, and that's been beset by controversy as the death toll in Brazil, the second highest in the world, has passed 65,000. Thanks for watching. That was Post Update.
We are welcome back now to the rest of the news. The remains of Sir Oladipo Adeyemi Jibodu have been committed to Mother Earth with a charge on Christians to live a righteous life for rewards that is divine. Right Reverend Bamidele Ibikunle, the Bishop, Diocese of Remo Methodist Church of Nigeria, gave the charge at the funeral service held for Sir Oladipo Adeyemi Jibodu at the Methodist Church in Ijoku, Shagamu. Elizabeth Esson completes the report.
To everything there is a season, a time to be born and a time to die. All mortals, according to Right Reverend Bamidele Ibikunle, will give account of their stewardship on the judgment day. The cleric describes late Sir Oladipo Adeyemi Jibodu as a man of many parts and a devout Christian.
A man of honor, an introducible man, a quintessential father, a man of high reputation,
a leader par excellence, and an accomplished legal practitioner. Members of some of the groups the deceased belonged to while alive took turns for various presentations in honor of the deceased. Prayers were offered for God's protection over the wife, children, and family left behind by the deceased. The remains of Sir Oladipo Adeyemi Jibodu were thereafter committed to Mother Earth, after which the dust-to-dust rites were performed. To the children, Sir Oladipo Jibodu was a father indeed.
I would say he's the best father in the world. And I just pray that God will give me the strength to bear the painful exit.
He was a fantastic man. In fact, I've said it before, I'll reiterate it. He was the best dad anybody could wish to have.
He was the best father anybody could have. He nurtured us. He brought us up in discipline.
My father was a man devoted in the service of God, committed 100% to God, committed to his family, committed to his children.
The grandchildren will forever miss their grandfather.
Grandpa was caring, he was very loving. He loved all of us and treated us equally.
The grandfather that we could easily influence, and he could also influence us as well.
The in-laws also speak.
I will miss his advice, his counsel. Most time when I'm at crossroads, I go to see him.
Grandpa was a natural. He doesn't pretend. When he's with you wholly.
Born on the 3rd of December 1937, Sir Oladipo Adeyemi Jibodu, a legal practitioner, was a knight of John Wesley and Baba Ijo of Methodist Church, Nigeria, Ijoku Shagamu. He died on Monday, 15th of June 2020 at the age of 82. He is survived by wife, Lady Toyin Jibodu, children and grandchildren. Elizabeth Esson, Ogtv News.
We now survey weather forecast for Wednesday. Do have a lovely day. And just before we go on the news, remember, you can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the